on the panels. So we're going to be jumping on that and have you two come up and take a seat. We're going to go through a whole bunch of questions. This whole theme of what we're talking about kind of builds off of what we did last week. I was going through those 7 different things. This one's very primarily focused on weekly rhythm of top producers. So I kind of just have a whole bunch of questions that I'm going to kind of go into. But first of all, we're going to go through it. I want to ask you guys some questions just so people can get to know you. Joe?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing real estate? What's your career look like on an overarching 45-second spiel?
Okay, sounds good. I've been in for about 26 years. And I started this right at the turn of the century. That's what So basically just been full-time in for since then. And this is the way I feed the kids. So how about it?
Good. AJ.
Cool. So I actually probably more of a non-traditional route. I went to college and grad school, became a school psychologist for several years. And was doing that for a while, and I hated working in a quasi-government where it's kind of status quo. You know, there's not people are kind of doing the bare minimum to get by, and I didn't sit well in it. So anyways, I started doing real estate part-time my first year. I just kind of tried it out, sold 8 homes, and thought, you know, hey, that was pretty decent. I should give this a shot. At the turn of the next school year, you know, as a school, employee, you get paid through the summer. I said, this is my shot. I went and took a job with a builder at that point, and then actually had some crazy personal stuff go on that kind of destroyed my savings account. So it was pretty brutal, but it was a intense awakening into real estate, and it really makes you hustle. So anyways, I've been doing real estate for about 5 years, and then in 2025 we just I did 15 homes. So yeah, man. Thanks.
Yep. So awesome. And that's kind of why I love the different dynamic of why I have you guys both up here. Well, awesome. Well, kind of so good. So both been doing it for a little while. Turn of the school year, turn of the century. You know.
It's called good. That's all good. I did sell good in Young's house here, so it's good.
He has a lot of cool stats like that. So.
Yeah,
No, I love it. I also look up to these guys figuratively and literally, both of them. So we'll stop there for a second. But yeah, so ultimately I'm excited because you guys have a great business. You've been doing it for a good chunk of time. You're very successful in a lot of ways. So ultimately, a lot of these questions are about the rhythm of doing deals, what your week looks like, what you do to prepare yourself. So kind of the first question that I kind of want to start with, and I know I sent you guys these, but the first one I like is, if I or one of the new agents followed you around for a full week, work week, right? So you're working, not like that, Joe. Okay, full work week.
It'd be more fun for you.
I agree. That was what I was going to go to next. But okay, what would I see you do for that week? What would that week look like? No matter how busy or slow things are. And I'll start with you, Joe.
Oh, okay. So I hate to say it, guys, but I have kind of just a lead generation type business. Even though I've been doing this for a long time, and really, I guess you could technically call it more of a lead follow-up business, because primarily everything I do is in my database. But I've just found, even though I know these people, even though we've done transactions, I find that they only stay loyal to me if I'm in touch with them and I continue to provide value for them. And so my days, basically, I lead generate each day if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and it's usually just a couple hours. Sometimes that's home. I've been trying to come in a little bit more lately, to be in the office here and that sort of thing. But honestly, that's what it looks like. I lead generate in the morning, and then I have appointments and do whatever I need to do in the afternoon. And so it's not too rocket science, but I believe I'm in 2 different businesses. I believe my first business that I'm in is to find business, and then my second business I'm in is to service that business. And I usually bifurcate it that way. I find business in the morning and I serve business in the afternoon.
Awesome. AJ.
Yeah, I would agree a ton with that. Primarily, I'm making sure to spend a couple hours every morning. Sometimes it's calling brand new people, but a lot of times it's just keeping up with all the people that I already know and have worked with or have met. And I try to, the way that I kind of see real estate is that you've always got to do what's right for your client. So I'm never pushing people to do something faster than they want to do it or anything like that. I am trying to just be valuable to them when they need it and how they need it. And if they're not ready, I'm just trying to be a good friend.
Awesome. And that's a great way to add value, so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's rewind time. So not your part-time year, right, but your first full-time year for both of you. What did your week look like and how did you start to get to where you are now? Because you both said basically now a lot of it is follow-up. But what did your first year look like and what would have that looked like if we followed you around?
Okay, so some of you won't know this name, a couple of you will. My first year I worked with Kevin Kezis. Is that some, nothing knows him? And so I actually was one of the first buyer's agents in town. So my first year of business looked different than my seventh through whatever. And so I was a buyer's agent for Kevin for that first year. And I think one of the first around really. And then we parted ways at the end of the second year on great terms. Love Kevin, still do to this day. I still talk to him, And then I really kind of immersed myself into kind of a Mike Ferry type system of being trained, and I really liked a lot of the things that Mike Ferry taught, mainly about structure and content, but I didn't like Mike himself. I thought he was a jerk. I'll be honest with you, I really did. And still do. But anyway, I did like the way he structured, the business and he treated it like a business. And so I really did benefit and gain a lot from Mike Ferry's type coaching in terms of scripting and dialogues and the way that it kind of set up your day for you. And so that's what I kind of did. I was telling some of you guys, and I told a lot of you guys, I basically built my database by doing kind of all the old stuff, the door knocking, the for sale by owners, few expireds, and just kind of the hustle, circle prospecting. I did a ton of circle prospecting. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's really just kind of calling people on the phone and saying, hey, we just sold a listing on 123 Sesame Street, found one home sales, usually a couple others follow, when do you plan on the week? And then going through that funnel. I just did a ton of those types of calls. But that's back when people answered the phone, and stuff like that. So I'm not sure that I'm not sure how I would do that today differently. That's the way we did it back then at the turn of the century. But the key point is you've got to get them into a database. And then once you get them in a database, and then you do what Dave's mentioned, where you service them, you provide value, you show that you're not an arrogant. And I'll tell you what, my business partner Nate was such a great mentor to me even 10 years ago about not forcing the issue. I've heard Nate talk himself out of so many listings. You know what I mean? Just saying, you don't want to do that. Keep it, man. It's a great rental. If you don't do that, give you a listing. He's like, so it's a better rental for them. You know what I mean? And so I've just heard Nate do that so many times in my career. And 10 years ago, where that's rubbed off on me a little bit too, just making sure you just do the right thing for your people. And they see that, they feel that. If you don't have commission breath, they don't mind paying you when it's time to pay you. They really don't. They just get annoyed if it's not time to pay you and you are feeling like you want to get paid, if that makes any sense. So that's kind of something you develop over time, and I feel like that's served me pretty well. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I would say, my first full-time year, obviously working for a builder was a bit more like, you're answering to what corporate has to say, but I would say if there was a takeaway to come from it, there's a ton of activities in real estate that are all important, but can just take up all your time. And if you don't make it a point to prospect and follow up with your people, it's really easy to let it go by the wayside, because you gotta run and do this, and you gotta clean your listing, and you've got to show this house and that house. Just always make it a point to spend your time keeping track of your people. And I agree with Joe. If you take care of people and they see that, and they asked if they should list the house, and you say, that's a great one, how do you keep it? They remember that. If you take care of your people, they're going to take care of you.
Love it. Yeah, no, 100%. So then with kind of what you guys do now where you're at, what, do you guys design your week before you do it?
You know, I'll answer that by saying I more design my time more than I do my week exactly, and then I let it fit into those categories, if that makes sense. The reality is, if you look at my appointment book, you wouldn't see me team with just slammed appointments every day, all day. That's not really the way it works for me. I probably don't go on many more appointments than most of you do. The only difference is they're usually pretty well qualified because they're a database, and so a lot of times they're like ready to go. You know, more come listing these instead of competitive and stuff like that. So kind of no, but the time blocks are set up as I've suggested, and I try to follow that pretty closely.
You know, one more time, what do those time blocks look like? If you have a mental flow of how you do business.
Yeah.
But you don't take the time every week to plan things.
I mean, nightly in the morning, yes, I mean, I'll get a basic flow, you know what I mean, basically. But I'm not one of those people that's gonna like project a whole week or a whole month in, you know, in terms of that just doesn't really work for me. Because if it's 2 days away, it doesn't even exist, like, I don't even know it's Christmas until the morning of, you know what I mean? That's not where my mind works.
Sure, your wife loves that.
She's so good at the, I love it. I still need that. Actually, we got the shirt and Santa Claus, right? It's, you know, that's exactly. And so and so the bottom line is, yeah, it's conceptual. It's like, these are the activities that I do. And then whatever activities, you know, that fit that I usually blend. So for example, today, spent some time doing some lead generation, you know, that sort of thing earlier in the morning. I'm dealing with a couple offers, so I had to do a couple of things on those. And then usually around lunchtime or thereabouts, any errands I need to run, I mean, we're all people, we have stuff, right? I would do that around the lunch hour, and then any appointments would be kind of, you know, that was afternoon hours. You know, but my first appointment today or my last appointment and only is only at 5 o'clock, because that's the only time that it really fit for everybody. So I try not to do it late in the evening. I try to keep it in during work hours, and then so today I'll just have time for additional, you know, lead generation or whatever I need to do, or some errands or whatever. But the point is, I'll be talking to people and making sure I'm present.
Awesome. Oh, thanks, Joe. AJ, how about you?
Yeah, so my typical day is I'm gonna really try to make it a point every morning to exercise or at the very minimum.
Oh, you want to start there?
If I don't do it till 5:30, so yeah, if I don't do it in the morning, it's not gonna happen.
No,
But
true.
if it gets to like 8 o'clock and I haven't done it yet, that phone starts going off and the whole day's gone.
Yeah, true.
So, but anyways, yeah, I'll try to make it a point in the morning to exercise before the phone starts buzzing. And then I'll try to get a solid 2 hours of focus following up and actually talking to your people. And then after that, you know, your day usually fills itself in. Yeah, I would say most days, you know, after 5:30 or so, usually I'm not gonna be working, so.
Awesome. Well, and I would say too, I mean, I always hear, even my parents will always say, you know, I'll stop by and say hi to them over in the Valley area. And they'll say, man, we know you're so busy, so thanks for coming by. And the thing is I'm not crazy overly busy. I just structured it, you know what I mean? I'm just structured, and so I kind of make it fit, you know what I mean? My favorite thing to do is not to be here, you know what I mean? I like to, you know, I like to go places and do stuff and stuff. No, for real. My wife loves to travel, and you know, yeah, and all this stuff, and so.
You kind of do?
I enjoy it. I get a little bit concerned when I've gone for a long time. I got partners, you know, our partners, you know, and stuff like that, but the point is, if we can be focused while we're working, okay, it allows us to have time while we're not working to be off. And so, but that comes with time too.
Yeah, and I agree with that too, where you work really hard when you're working, and when you're not working, don't work. Cause it's really easy to just work all the time.
So then so you both now mentioned, okay, you have your structure, your mindset around what you're doing. You definitely have conversations and that lead generation. What would you say is like how, you know, how many hours, how long, what days, what does your lead generation look like in general week?
So last year it was a little bit fragmented. but we've changed some structure. So the bottom line is I've cleared my schedule this year to be a little bit better. So I now have from 9 to 11 every, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to do lead generation. And so the goal is to get somewhere close to 10 hours. If there's a day that gets a little bit wonky, I've given myself allowance. So my mental thought is 8 hours, but I've given myself 10 hours because life happens, right? Things happen. You get sick, you have to take your car to the shop, whatever it is. But the point is, my default during 9 through 11 is lead generation. And that needs to happen at least 4 of the 5 days a week. And, so I've got it structured as such. But I also understand I'm a human being and life happens. So if something goes a little bit flawed, I'm not gonna kill myself over it. I'm just gonna make the adjustment and do what I gotta do. What was the rest of the question? I'm sorry.
It was ultimately, so how many days, how long?
Yeah.
Was the question?
Yeah, so ultimately 10 hours would be great. You know what I mean? But I want 8. I feel good about 8.
Yeah, mine's actually identical. On 9 to 11, I'm trying to move any appointments are popping up. I'm just trying to push them back. And I'm trying to protect that time.
Like if you ever say, hey, let's meet at 10 o'clock, that is the worst time on the planet for me. I hate 10 o'clock meetings. And I try to avoid them as much as I can.
Yeah.
Because it pretty much destroys the morning. Okay. You know what I mean? Because there's not a lot of time before and and so I just 10 o'clock is all worse for me. I really try really hard not to ever have 10 o'clock.
Yeah, and I'm personally I really struggle with I get into an activity and then I get interrupted, which as realtors, this happens to us constantly. So I found, the mornings seem to be a little bit slower, but most times than not, I can keep that protective lead generation time without too many interruptions. And every once in a while it still does, but that is what it is. And sometimes your person comes in from Salt Lake and the whole day's gone, but maybe you close the house that day. So
And that's that flexibility.
Yeah.
You
you gotta be flexible.
Yeah. Yep. Gets so dogmatic, it actually costs you sometimes, so you gotta be thinking on your feet a little bit.
Good, love it. All right, so you guys are both human, pretty sure. If you guys claim to be human, maybe. All right, so love it. What do you guys do when you don't feel like lead generating?
For the most part, I've been doing this long enough, if I know it's time, I can get myself to do it. And it's just like, hey, suck it up, I'm not digging ditches right now. So ultimately, I guess that's a function of thinking of the big why. And my big why is always my family, you know what I mean? It's my wife and my family and kind of the be-do have we have. So I just have to kind of put it in perspective as, hey, this is what funds our 18 days in my cow. You know what I mean, or whatever it is, that sort of thing. So I can usually, kind of do it that way because that why is big enough for my family to make me get over the edge of hey, this sucks. And I'm like, so what? I'm not digging ditches. It's not that hard. You know what I mean? So just a mindset thing.
Yeah, and Jackson and I, we had a conversation about this a bit ago, but he said it's like going to the gym, just show up. Sometimes we show up to the gym and we're tired and we're grouchy and we go and we walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes. So at least you went, right? At least you went. And a lot of times when you go and you didn't feel like it, sometimes you have a great workout. But if you didn't show up, you wouldn't have had a great workout.
Cool. So the mentality of okay, great, what's your why? And just do it anyways. This is your habit kind of concept.
Yeah, it's just manning up or womaning up or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, then what? So you guys grew a business. You guys are where you're at. What was the first thing that you're hey, it's coming into my realm, this lead generation time, your time blocking, your family time. What was the first thing that you leveraged to make it so that you could have a schedule that you could maintain and do more business?
And it's been a long time ago, but personal assistant would be the first thing, and that's been a long time ago because if I'm doing all the dotting the i's and crossing the t's, it's not going to be done very well. And so I need someone to kind of keep track of some of those details and stuff like that. So the first leverage was an assistant, and then after that came other agents to kind of help push showings and stuff like that down the line.
Yeah, I found most people that have the personality of a good realtor were terrible at paperwork. So certainly transaction, transaction coordinator manager, that's one of the first things that you like, when I was brand new, I was like, I don't want to pay that, but it's worth every penny. Because you're missing opportunities if you're spending all that time, especially when I do the paperwork, it's done wrong. It takes me twice as long as it should. There's mistakes. I'm just not good at it.
Well, and I think the challenge with all of that stuff too is, and I'm as guilty as the next guy, is we do some of those things because we're busy and it makes the day go by.
Yeah.
Right? And so we think, well, I'm doing stuff, and I'm doing real estate stuff. And the question is it the right stuff? Because there are things that one that could do that's probably more talented for you and it's better leverage, and maybe even more affordable than what my time's worth when I'm in front of people and doing things, or even becoming more aware of the community and what's out there and, other inventory and that sort of thing. So I think sometimes and I do this, I do things I shouldn't do because it makes me busy and it makes the day go by. And I think we need to be careful of that.
Yeah, when I was a school psychologist in the high school, they had me writing 60-page reports and going to 3-hour meetings, and I hated it, absolutely hated it. And I wasn't good at it, and I wasn't patient and whatever. And what I am good at is being with people. I'm a people person. I'm good at that stuff, and that's where I should be, not spending 4 hours in my office doing paperwork. Yeah.
How do you know when you're at that legal review time?
It's a great question.
Well, Gary Keller says that 36 transactions is when you hire. However, sorry, can I interrupt? I did.
She's Rebecca, she's both.
When you get to the point where you're doing the busy work, dotting the i's, crossing the t's, so that you don't have to seek the business, that's me.
Sooner than you think.
I just try to find all the things that I'm not good at that I can put a cost to, and then I weigh it like that. It's okay, if we target for that's less than $200, and they do a way better job than I could do with 5 years of practice. Totally worth it, right? Transaction coordinator, that's $300 to $400. They do a better job, and they free up so many hours. Totally worth it. And then you go from there.
Good. So that kind of leads us into another good question. What do you intentionally say no to or have said no to get where you're at today to be more focused?
The older I get, the more introverted I get. Sounds weird, but I do. And I used to care deeply about what every person thought of me. And I still care. I want to have a good reputation. I really do care. But I'm past the point of trying to be pleasing. And so basically, I think that anything that takes away from my big why, which is that family and create, whatever, if something's gonna try to rob from that, then I'm probably a no. That sort of thing. So it's not necessarily an always thing, it's just based on what's in front of me and, kind of what's going on. It takes away from my overarching goal of who I am, in the core and what I'm trying to accomplish, then that's a no. So that doesn't give you a cut and dry, but it kind of moves around a little bit. Depending on what's going on.
I'm not very good at saying no. That's why I'm right here to message. Yeah. But in all seriousness, there are listings that aren't worth taking, to be honest with you guys. There are people with certain mindset and certain perception of realtors, and go let them work with someone else at 1%. Like, the amount of effort and hard work you're going to do for them that they're not going to appreciate, and the heartburn you're going to get from it. You could have like found 3 deals.
Those people are called family.
Yeah.
They're your good client.
Refer them to me. I'll pay 25%.
Oh, you've done family. No, okay, sure.
Love it. Okay, well, last question, we'll have time maybe for a question or two to kind of wrap things up. But if you had to simplify your entire weekly rhythm into 3 rules, any agent could follow, what would they be?
The good news is I think that we kind of covered it. Number one, for me, I have to have a miracle morning. You hit on that.
Yeah.
I have to do something physically, I have to do something spiritually, I have to do something mentally. I have to, I have to nourish myself, those types of things, so. So when I get up at 5:40, for whatever reason, that's my magic time, normally it's 5:40. And I don't even look at my phone until 9 o'clock, because that's my time to get my body ready, mind ready, my spiritual ready, whatever it is. So I don't even look at business stuff, and I mean, 90% of the time, let's say you remember where he lives, but that's my MO, because I don't even look at my phone on purpose until about 9 o'clock in the morning, so. It's that morning, so that's number one, and it's the lead gen block that we've been talking about. And then afternoon is you handle the appointments. Oh, that's pretty simple.
Sweet.
Yeah, I agree that the first two rules for sure, and then I think my third rule that I would say is the right thing, help people. Don't have commission breath, don't be chasing the dollar. Just go out there and help the people in front of you.
Love it, love it, love it. Questions from the group? And I'm gonna walk this around so that it's on the recording, but Dina.
Just a generic question, do you have any books or podcasts that affect you or influence you, or you would recommend?
What do you like?
I'm not a big book guy, but I read the scriptures.
Okay, so
That is a big book.
that's the biggest book. So to be 100% honest with you as well, I'm a podcast guy, and it's almost all theology. That's just what I like. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Hey, there you go. What else? We have a few more. Any other questions?
Would you do it all over the same way that you do it?
Would you do it all
Start
the
over?
same way you did it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I will say this, I really do feel like I'm super blessed to have my first mentor, Kevin Kezis, who actually helped me to kind of get my ferry train right from the get-go, to get that mindset, to get that kind of schedule. I think I'm super blessed, and so I feel like I've had kind of a parade run at this business. I was super blessed. I was in the right place and right time and under the right tutelage at the right times as well. I've had, and this isn't meant to be stupid or anything, but I've had the best partner you could possibly get in the shop. Guy, no better. I mean, he wasn't paying that much, but sincerely, the guy.
He wanted to hear you say,
Yeah.
I should have bought more around.
Yeah.
That's what he meant. That's what he wanted.
Not as many as I can. Okay. At the end of the day, but he's got more, but no, I'm asleep, but I really feel like I've had a charm experience, and I feel like that if anything, I've underperformed based on the benefits and blessings and opportunities I've had. If anything, I've underperformed, and I feel blessed that we've done okay anything. So
Love it.
Yeah, I would say too, I think we kind of go on the journey that we're supposed to, and so whatever your higher being is, trust in that, because in real estate and sales, we can't make anybody do anything. If people have their own choices, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Now, if we can be a value to them, then that's great. So definitely involve your higher being with your work.
Awesome. So I'm curious on your question though. Is there anything that you would change of the way that you did it?
No, not a thing.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Hey, we have time for one more question. Going once, going twice. Okay, thank you guys so much.